Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to another edition to A Visit to the Mound. I'm Lark Smith, along with
Stan Huff.
And today we have a special guest in studio with us, Denny Copeland, a former college player at Baylor, also a former college baseball umpire. Denny is now involved in a baseball statistical game known as fantasy baseball, a phenomenon that has taken over the hearts and minds of baseball fans across the country. Denny, thanks for being with us today. What I want to know about, or what I know about the origins of fantasy baseball, is it began with several baseball newspaper writers up in the Northeast, most notably Daniel Ockrent, who wrote a book entitled Rotisserie Baseball. From that humble beginning, fantasy baseball has evolved into several different ways to form a league, and has also spawned fantasy leagues in other sports. How did you get involved in fantasy baseball?
We started after we got out of school. We were playing City League softball,
Right.
slow pitch.
All of us did.
And we were playing that, and then everybody. And in 1983, we had, I think it was 10 guys that wanted to start the baseball concept. And so this year, we are in our 40th year
Wow.
to play.
Wow.
You must be the commissioner.
I am the commissioner.
He's been a commissioner. I've been a commissioner. And you and I both started this back before there was computer programs to take care of all the commissioners' work.
Yes, and we would get, there was the Sporting News, which was a sports publication that we had. It
Exactly.
was in a paper form. And then we would get the Dallas Morning News. And that was before they came out every Tuesday with the baseball stats accumulated by the week.
Mm-hmm.
So
But you didn't do it box score by box score like I
box
did?
scores back
we
then, didn't they?
did. If there was a discrepancy, we would go in and clarify that via the box score.
Okay.
Right.
So, but I was a little lazy. I waited for the Dallas Morning News to come out, or Sporting News, and then we would come in and I would mail out the stats once we had me a little spreadsheet and all of that, and we got it entered. So,
Isn't it sad that they don't put box scores in the paper now?
at the time now, not having a sports page.
Right.
And that's also nice to have it on your phone where you can look at it.
Oh, yeah, but that's one of the reasons I quit taking the paper. No box
No
scores.
box scores, yeah.
Exactly. So,
Now, fantasy baseball can take different forms as far as what statistics you use. There are different leagues. I understand that you're in like several different leagues that use several different statistical categories. Is that correct?
We are. And the categories that we use, for offense, we do on-base percentage. A lot of people use batting average. We do runs, home runs, RBIs, and stolen bases. And then on pitching, we do ERA. WHIP is walks, hits allowed, innings pitched, wins, strikeouts, and saves. And there are all kind of variations that you can go.
Right.
And we're playing the league that I'm in now. You can do the true rotisserie league is just an accumulation of points that you add up for the season.
Right.
And the other thing now that's gotten very popular is a head-to-head league. So I may play you in a week.
Right.
And then, each category, like a home run's 1 point, and you add up the collective total at the end of the week. And then if you have the total point accumulation over that, then you're the one, you get a win for the week.
How many leagues are you in right now?
Right now I'm in 7 because they're so the highest I've ever been in is 39.
Oh, my gosh.
Goodness gracious.
But it's not that complicated.
I understand with computers nowadays
With
it's not, but
computers
it's
and all
just
that other-
still you have to really know your stuff. When first off, you got to draft a team, right?
Got to draft.
Do you redraft players every year, or do you hold on to some?
There's 3 categories that you have in fantasy baseball. You have a redraft league where those players go back every year to draft.
Okay.
Then there is a keeper league where you can select 3 or 4 players, and then the rest of your players go back in the pool.
All right.
And then there is a dynasty league, which you can keep every player if you want.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's
Well, I will admit, from when I first got into fantasy league, it helped me be more involved in Major League Baseball because I knew more about every individual player out there because I had to do my research to do the drafting and stuff like that. But then I'd go to a Ranger game, being a Ranger fan, and I'm rooting for Kent Herbeck or Robin Yount or somebody that wasn't on the Ranger squad. And I thought, this is schizophrenic. I got to quit this.
And the purist in baseball will say, oh, you cannot be pulling for an opposing player.
Well, listen.
I mean, I know Stan was in the Yankee organization.
Right.
And, I would get sentimental and choose for guys that I know or whatever. But now I don't care who they're playing. If they're on my fantasy team, that's who I'm pulling for.
Well, right now with the movement they got, all these, with free agency and all that, you're having to do a lot of research every time you look up.
Some of the guys that we know that are involved in organizations or scouts or whatever, it's like the game's changed. So when we were all playing or involved in baseball, and that was in the late 60s and early 70s, the game's changed so much.
Oh, yeah.
The money is stupid.
Well, tell me about it.
And we were talking earlier about giving a 18 or 19-year-old kid X amount of $1 million.
I could be wrong, but a rookie getting to the big leagues right now makes roughly $585,000.
Yeah, about $500,000. Yeah,
right, $500,000.
A little more than that.
Yeah,
there's a couple kids.
That's just
here,
making the roster.
There's a couple kids here from Central Texas that signed, and their bonus was like $2.6 million.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not unheard of.
No,
when I played it, 100,000 was a big deal.
100,000, and Rick Monday, who used to play for the Angels a long time ago.
Yeah, he was the first player drafted.
Yes. So anyway.
Well, at 100,000 now is like 10th or 12th round money.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing.
Right. I wouldn't know.
Well, anyway.
Anyway.
Well, it's back to the fantasy baseball. You're checking out hot players right now. You got
hot players.
Yeah. Who might those guys be right now?
I just happen to have a little.
You got your spreadsheet right there.
Well, I've got one. Our statistics go every week. So I picked up sleeper hitters for the week of this week in week 5.
Who you got?
Patrick Wisdom.
Okay.
Third baseman for the Chicago Cubs.
Right.
Power, I think he's got 6 or 7 home runs now. It's not going to last, but if he's hot like that, I'd pick him up.
How about Trey Turner?
Trey Turner's a given. I mean, Trey Turner in our big league that we are involved in a league, and it's all based out of the Pentagon.
Oh, my gosh.
So these guys are here. Trey Turner was the first pick.
He was the first pick. Yeah. I don't blame him.
Yeah, he was with Washington, but he went to Philadelphia.
Right.
And he was the first pick. But the deal is offense. Now Jacob deGrom was the first pitcher to go.
Was he?
And then the other one was the kid from the Yankees.
Carlin Judge.
Judge, the pitcher.
Used to be at Houston. That guy. I can't think
remember
of his name right now.
I'm at a loss there. But
what about Kyle Schwarber?
Schwarber's good.
I liked his, but he's got a quick bat.
The only thing is his batting average gets you. He doesn't run any, but I think he led 46 home runs last year.
Well, I like his power.
Mm-hmm. He's hitting in the right ballpark.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you put him in front of Bryce Harper, and Ria Muto and some of these other guys.
Harper's just getting back into it.
Right.
We've got him. A friend of mine. We've got Harper. We went ahead and took him, and he's already rehabbing to come in and play first base.
Right.
And now they're even saying he might not have to take a minor league option to go out for rehab.
Well, now the National League's got DH, so he could DH too, right?
Well, that's the deal. I think now that with the used to it was American League only,
right?
But the other thing, it also brings these power hitters and some of the other guys that are going to be able to extend their career,
right?
And I am a DH advocate because I don't think pitchers should be batting. Because every season you got a couple of guys that get injuries, either getting hit on their hands or running the bases.
Well, with a rib cage muscle.
Yeah, they don't need pitchers.
It sure takes a lot of strategy out of the game
Well,
as
it
far as
does.
managing.
I
though.
do. I agree, and I like the fact that it was different. I like the fact that the American League had DH, the National League didn't. I like the fact that there was some difference between the leagues.
Now, the one I like, and I didn't like him as a player because he was always an opponent, but I like Dusty Baker as a manager.
Oh yeah,
Because when
done
he's
well.
talking, he's done well. He adapts to the situation, and just to hear him talk, and he's old school.
Oh yeah,
right.
He's old school, and then everything that, of course, now he's with Houston. But every time you hear the Astro players talk, they have superlatives for him.
Oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So I'm a Dusty Baker fan.
Okay, as far as players go, picking week by week, who had Adolis Garcia this last week?
I did.
You got a lot of points, didn't you?
And it's one of those deals when you're sitting there watching Major League Baseball Network or scrolling, or you're watching on ESPN and they're running the creeper lines on the
Right.
bottom, and it said Garcia 3 home runs. And they had to do the translation. I said, that's my guy. So it's like thumbs up. But that can also go the other way, too.
How's that?
I had somebody call the other day, or they sent a text, and they wanted, they offered Correa, DeGrom, and Abreu.
For Garcia?
No.
Oh.
So they come in there and they want to this other guy, because they were counseling. They wanted Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman, and somebody else. Oh, a pitcher was Lance Lynn.
Lance Lynn. Okay.
Okay.
And Lance Lynn was good at one time. He was good at one time, but I would say probably now he's on the downslope.
I see. Okay.
So, but anyway, I told him to turn him. I told him to decline that offer because I have Abreu and Correa in another league out of Houston, and I said that's a fleece job if you accept that trade.
Right. Who's got Trout?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, but he went ahead of before because I was going to take Trout. I had the 7th pick in my deal, and Trout went like the player before me.
All right. I got you.
So. But the another one to talk about, Trout, Ohtani, and Turner Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 guys. I mean, Ward hits leadoff, Trout hits second, Ohtani hits third, and they went back to back to back.
And he pitches too.
And he pitches. Ohtani
amazing.
Ohtani. I mean, we've had some of the Japanese players or Korean players come over, and they've been very effective. But there's been nobody in that category for with what Ohtani does.
I've witnessed a little bit of that. I had a Hideki Arabu.
Yeah.
When he's with the Montreal Expos.
And then Matsui was right fielder for the Yankees.
Right.
And those are good players. But
the pitcher I was thinking about with the Yankees was Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole.
He's probably high on your list as well.
Yes. I mean, I would love to have him, but the deal is in the major leagues this year, they're starting to. Long time ago, all of the old vets would go complete games. Nolan Ryan,
Right.
That's
Kurt
the way it
Schilling,
should be.
all of them, and that's the way to do it. And the other thing is, I don't think the kids throw enough to go, because 30 years ago, you were saying, it was nothing to throw 19 or 20 complete games.
Right.
Oh, look, I got to tell you, as managing an independent ball, it was I wanted my pitchers to go deep into as far as that. We had 16 complete games, and our closest team had 1. At the end of the year, we had a fresher bullpen,
Right.
and we won because we had a fresher bullpen, and that was it.
Well, I think that the idea to go in, if you have they're considered an ace, and they still might only go 6 1/3.
Right.
And then the other thing is now the game of relievers.
Mm-hmm.
You have a 7th inning reliever, you have an 8th inning reliever, and then you have a closer.
Yeah, setup guy.
Yeah, setups.
Short guy, setup guy,
And now
closer.
they're designated, and they'll come in and you'll bring your guy in the 7th, then you'll have the setup guy in the 8th, and you have your closer.
Well, that just I guess legitimizes the salary they're paying them then.
Well,
Because they're getting the work out of them.
How does that affect the points that you guys have in fantasy league as far as how these pitchers have changed roles per se? You don't get them as deep into a game as a starter.
Well,
How does that?
the problem is, and it's already noticeable this season, you could have a quality starter going and he gets 4 2/3.
It doesn't get a win.
Doesn't get a win, and they take him out. And wins was one of our primary pitching categories.
Right.
So and so what happens there? We also get credit for quality starts.
Right.
But a quality starts now is 6 innings. So used to
That's a quality start?
that's a quality start now.
There was a time back when Nolan Ryan was pitching with the Angels.
I think you had to get to the 7. You had to pitch 7 innings
Yeah.
to get in.
Yeah.
And Louis Tiant was pitching for Boston. They tied it up one night. It may be in Boston, I don't know, or maybe in California. But the game went to extra innings, and both of them went the distance.
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan threw like 250 pitches, 260 pitches, and Tiant threw 230 or 40. And they started the next time out.
Yeah, they didn't miss a rotation time.
Well, I think the
I mean,
pitcher.
I think you have guys now that used to, they could throw 125 to 130 pitches, not miss a start. And the other thing that you see now,
I think it's a matter of their training. They don't train as hard as they used to.
They don't. And
My
and the
gosh.
other thing is, some teams now with lesser talent, they're going to 6 starters.
I've done that before.
And so now do you do the 5 or 6 inning
Well,
appearance? And go
here's
from
the thing. When I was in independent ball, we only had like 10 days of spring training.
Right.
So these guys are not really that great in shape anyway.
Right.
So when I started this in Waterbury, Connecticut, I started this 6 guys, and it didn't go over well. And I said, you back off.
Right.
You want to stay here, you're going to have to do this for a while until you get in shape. So that's all. So I didn't go the whole year, but it got us to a point where, we had 5 starters, and we used the other guy as a short relief guy.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I've seen in Central Texas, there is a lot more select ball.
Oh yeah,
where people are traveling.
Travel
and
ball,
travel ball, and the kids are playing 2 teams. But what they're not saying, or what they're not telling the coach, well, I threw 7 innings. I guess was a high school game. They said, I threw 7 innings on Monday, and then they're wanting you to come back and throw another 7 for the other team on Wednesday or Thursday or the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So, and a couple of my buddies that were scouts, they said they were having parents wanting them to have the Tommy John surgery right out of high school.
Yes.
And get over that, get through the recovery time, take the red shirt time as a college player or whatever, so that they'll be fully healthy when they get ready to go and they think they're going to get drafted.
I'm seeing that a lot at junior college baseball. Freshmen will come in and have Tommy John surgery and take their redshirt year at junior college, and then come back and throw the 2 years at JUCO, and then go to D1. I'm seeing a lot of guys in slings at junior college games.
Seen that. Now, with that in mind, do you take that in consideration when you're getting your fantasy teams set up?
With the medical stuff going on, if they've had that and they're going to be on rehab maybe for months, extended out, I mean that's a dead time for your fantasy team.
I got you. I understand.
I mean the deal is like anything. If you get players playing, you have opportunity for runs, RBIs, home runs, and all that.
So this is player-centric, the whole thing.
Definitely.
So you don't consider managers or anything like that?
Well,
you might consider ballparks where they play in,
yes.
Teammates, that are in front of them or behind them in the lineup, something like that.
In certain, they call it stacks, where you can go in and stack a lineup when you're going in and you set. And if you can get, like the one they were talking about the other night, last night, St. Louis had a stack where they were playing their top 4 hitters against San Francisco Giants. And the Giants they're not totally on fire right now, but St. Louis lost 4-0. So that theory can backfire just like everything else.
So San Francisco put it on them and took care of their top hitters.
And their starting pitcher. The other thing is the kids that are getting brought up. I mean, they're multi-talented, so they can go. They play different positions. So
that Ohtani.
Ohtani.
Yeah. When you're getting prepared for a draft, and it may vary by leagues, but as far as, let's take a particular league, do you draft a position by position? Do you have to have a starting 9 with each ball game? Or
we have what we play. I was trying to look right here. And our positions that we have that are probably the most important, we play catcher, first base, second base, third base, shortstop, 3 outfielders, and a utility player.
Okay.
And then we play 5 pitchers. They can be any combination.
Right.
And then so that gives you 9 starters on offense and 5. So there's 14 active positions and 11 reserves.
Okay. Now, back when I was doing this, I focused my research on certain positions because I knew there was certain positions that there was, let's call it a dearth of offense out of that particular position, maybe only 1 or 2 players that would give you a lot of offensive numbers out of like shortstop or second base.
Right.
But you could get plenty of numbers out of first base or outfield. So I always, when it came time to do my drafting, when it came to offense, I focused on shortstops and second basemen.
Well,
Is that
the one that you have is the kid from the San Diego that just came back that had
Tatis?
Batiste.
Yeah.
You know, his position ranking now, because he got to play a little bit of outfield last year.
Right.
So he's eligible for outfield and shortstop.
Okay.
Now he will go probably to an outfielder because I think his health-wise, because they've got Bogarts from Boston came over to play.
Yeah.
But, I used to, when there was Alex Rodriguez and some of these other guys, the big shortage position now that you see is third base.
Right.
So,
If you can get a Arenado, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, if you get Arenado or Manny Machado.
Yeah.
And then the others that I see, the kid from Texas,
John Shun.
And I think he was at Texas Tech.
He was.
And he played at Tech, so, I kind of pulled for him. He's done better than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the other thing that when you start looking, if you get the quality starting pitcher, it's just you got to have a couple of them. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is when to draft them.
Right. Yeah.
But Garrett Cole, I was an Astro fan. I was disappointed when he left.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like everything else. They go for the money. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't
Can't
either.
blame him for not 1 minute.
Yeah, I saw him at UCLA. He and Trevor Bauer. That was one of the best 1-2 combinations in college baseball that I've ever seen.
Right.
And knew that those guys were going to be good when they got to the big leagues, and just have continued to watch him. He's just phenomenal on the mound.
Well, the best college pitcher I faced was Bert Hooton.
Yeah.
Out of Texas.
Yeah.
And then I told Stan, I said, I faced Richard Wortham and Jim Gideon.
Right.
Both out of Texas. And they were, that's
strong.
That's a strong deal.
Yep, absolutely.
Let me ask you this. So if somebody is just wanting to get into fantasy baseball, what are the dynamics of fantasy baseball, and how do you win and or
compete?
Is it a point deal?
Yeah, it's a point deal.
Yes, points.
Well, how's it work?
I would suggest to start, just do the rotisserie, just the old-fashioned rotisserie, where you go in and put things together, and then it's just a season accumulation of points.
Okay, so the accumulation of points, whoever's got the most points at the end of the season is the winner.
And we got a little trophy or whatever, and everybody gets their deal there.
And in some of these leagues, there's more than just trophies.
Well, there is.
So
there's some money to be made.
Get your picture in the paper too.
Yeah. So,
holding your trophy, plastic trophy.
But the other thing is, we've had some others. The other thing that I don't want to deal with are trades.
Yeah.
Because we've had it where some of the guys we played with, they get pretty salty.
Get testy, doesn't it?
Yes. And it's, you don't want to ruin the friendship, you don't want to ruin the league and all of that other. But we have had some
Well, he had one that just dropped another guy,
we
didn't
had
you?
him.
The
He
right
dropped
hook.
it, broke his nose. They were arguing over a trade.
Oh, goodness. Goodness, no.
That's serious.
And it was here. It was here in Waco. So that was probably in the early '90s.
Yeah. I don't guess there was anybody I knew because I didn't see anybody with black eyes.
No.
Broken nose.
You know, the other thing, of course, I remember when you guys were on the radio and people would call in.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's an expert.
Of course they are.
Everybody knows, and it's just like Stan managing and every. Oh, I've forgotten more than you'll ever know. And
Well, I didn't say that.
I know, but there are people there. They think this is easy.
Yeah.
Well, I got news for him.
No, it's not.
So my deal is whatever career path you go into or whatever you chase, keep your mouth shut, keep your head down, and go. So
Yeah.
Okay, you said you're in like 7 leagues. Are they all just static leagues where you draft and go the
we
full
have-
distance, or do you do a lot of trading, or do you have to
we
select?
have trading in our Pentagon League. It's on CBS. Most of our leagues that I'm in are with ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
But ESPN, CBS, Yahoo, the game has gotten so popular. The fantasy game has gotten so popular that every media outlet's got some kind of
Right.
form or fashion.
Right.
And then the other thing is there's a company called DraftKings
Right.
or FanDuel, and a long time ago, Major League Baseball, if you were involved with FanDuel or DraftKings, you were
Persona non grata.
yes.
Yeah.
But now,
Yeah.
when you're watching Major League Baseball Network, everything they have a commercial. with
They're
DraftKings,
advertising. Yeah.
everything. But it's all about
It's all about the dollar.
About the
the
money,
dollar,
yeah.
the mighty dollar.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
but other than that, we play. If somebody was starting, I would say, for simplicity's sake, let them start and play, and just play the rotisserie league. You know, if you got now, there's some family leagues, and everybody plays. If y'all want to trade, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when you're playing for your little coin or you're playing for your trophy, you know, as a commissioner, and I heard a couple of them talk about it. They said you do not go in and cancel trades.
No.
Because then you'll come around and they'll at some point in time there'll be an angle coming through for you to get a trade approved.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get canceled.
and I'll
Yeah.
get canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
So-
get vetoed or something.
Yeah, I think the 5 years I was commissioner, I don't think I ever canceled a trade. There was a couple of them I just went, okay.
Now the funny thing is, it doesn't take long. Somebody makes a trade, and then you have 2 days to, if you can disagree or whatever, you can vote to veto. But it takes 4 vetoes or whatever. And so when it happens, soon as the trade goes in and Stan accepts my trade offer, then here come the texts, here come the emails. What is going on? And
Really?
yeah, it's
That
just,
how it goes. That is active.
yes.
Yeah.
People are following that.
Best trade I ever made. I got Al Oliver and Paul Molitor for Aussie and Bhakti.
Wow. The one that I got caught on, I was watching the Astro game, and one of those starters, I don't even remember who it was, and he kicked the water cooler coming out and broke his toe,
Yeah.
and I made a trade offer with the broken toe, and that guy didn't know it, and then we. So, anyway, but that was way back in the day. So.
Let's see.
Somebody hits the wall with their hand, breaks their little pinky finger or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, anyway.
Well, I do appreciate you being here with us.
Glad to be
This has
here.
been a very fun conversation about fantasy baseball. That is our time for this episode of A Visit to the Mound. Many thanks to our special guest today, Denny Copeland, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments or anything you would like for us to cover, we'd love to hear from you. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Visit to the Mound or on our website at visittothemound.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, and review this podcast, and be listening the next time we make a visit to the mound. That'll wrap up this visit to the mound. We certainly appreciate you joining us today for a little baseball talk. Anytime you want to hear something about baseball, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast, or you can go to roguemedianetwork.com for the next edition of A Visit to the Mound.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.